Okay, this video we're going to actually go out and look at the Cengage content and at least open up one of the exercises and open up the book. I want to kind of show you the way you work your way through this course. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and this is very similar to your side. You're going to see something very similar to what you're seeing on this screen right now. And basically, I want to point out a few things. Here is the course as you curse through this. Now, what is on this screen that is not on yours? I'm not covering chapter 11, 12, or 15, so you will not see those chapters. But basically, if you click on one of these, there's a down arrow over here to open up that folder, and you will see some of the activities that are listed under here. This getting started is a video on how to use MindTap, and I highly recommend you doing that. This is data files. You may or may not download them. It's really not required. The data files that you're using to solve problems in the assignments, you're given inside the assignment. And there's the book companion site, and you can see that's the end of the getting started. Very similar format in every chapter. There is a getting started. So let's go under chapter 1. You will see this very common, and it repeats often, getting started. Some applications, data sources, some subheadings. Then you'll have this chapter 1 review and assignments at the end. And there's a bunch of different content under these different sections, and I'm going to open up some of them. You always want to go under the Getting Ready tab and read the textbook. If you click on this, it'll take you out to the ebook. And when you do go out to the ebook, you probably will see some, you will see some icons at the top, which please explore. And I'm going to just talk about these very briefly. There's a few icons up here, and the one has a little face, and of course, that one will actually read the chapter to you for what that's worth. This one here, you can change the font size and so on, right? You can even maybe print part of this content. So familiarize yourself with how to use this. There is a lot of content in here. And one of the things I like about supplementary exercises in the back of this book, you'll see they'll give you a problem and a question, and in the drop-down window is the answer, okay? The idea is for you to try to figure out what that answer is, but I want you to be reinforced with what the real answer is. So you learn, you do, you learn some more, and you do again. And so through the process of repetition, you're going to learn this subject. So I'm going to close this now. Statistics is a fairly tough course for undergraduate students unless you are a math person. For that reason, I prefer to teach this using Microsoft Excel to work a lot of exercises. As it says in the syllabus, only 11% of your grade comes from exams. Most of it comes from doing exercises or practices on Excel. What I do is I have you work a data set, learn how to manipulate the data, and get it through using Excel data analysis or just Excel functions that are readily available. And that way you can spend a little bit more time doing analysis and trying to figure out what it means. What does a standard deviation mean? I'm really not interested in you being able to calculate it with a calculator or by hand. There's no reason to waste time doing that. Microsoft Excel is very powerful. It's a common business tool that every business student needs to be proficient in. So in this class, you should be building up quite an inventory of Excel spreadsheets that you're going to turn into me. Please save them for yourself because they come in handy in the future if you ever need to manipulate data. You can go back and open up your Excel files from this course that you created, and you will have the formulas in there that might help you. So all these tabs have different exercises under them. You can see there's a practice. Some of these practices are graded and some are not. This practice is actually worth 2 points. Some of the practices are just for your benefit. right? You can practice it. It has no bearing on your grade. But everything, look on the right-hand side. You need to open up every one of these folders and see what's in there and make sure you're doing all the things that are related to your score in the class. There's exercises in statistical inference. In other words, statistics actually points towards something. We want to practice that. Practice covers statistical inference. Some of them have an algorithmic version, so that means that every time you open this practice, you might get the numbers will be slightly different. That will keep you from memorizing particular numbers and concentrate on learning the methodology. So I'm going to open up the chapter review because every chapter has a chapter review assignment, and it's worth the majority of the points for you in this course. So under chapter review, you see here's a chapter review, but there's no points associated with it on the right-hand side. However, after taking that chapter review, you're going to come down here and take the chapter 1 test prep. The test prep is worth 1 point. So you want to definitely do this, but this also helps prepare you for the exam over chapters 1, 2, and 3. So you certainly want to take all the test preps. There's 1 in each chapter. They're all worth 1. The chapter assignment is always worth more. You can see here it's worth 6 points. In some chapters, it's worth as much as 18 points. There's also flashcards. Flashcards are really cool. There's no point value over here, so they don't count towards your grade, but they're a great study tool. There's a lot of practices in the Cengage product that are very short, 2 to 3 minutes, but they present concepts very clearly and very concisely. So I'm going to open up this and show you how you would go about working one of these chapter assignments. Remember, you're creating a spreadsheet in the chapter assignment. It has to be turned in on the Blackboard site. So every one of these, really, you're going to create a different spreadsheet for every chapter assignment, and you're going to turn it in under the chapter assignment on Blackboard. And there's one on there for each chapter we're covering. So here's the home screen for the assignment. I say start assignment now. Let it open up. Okay, there's a few things here that are really important. One is there's 3 tabs. That's telling me there's 3 questions. And here's my first question. There's a check my work button over here, and there's a submit for grading. I can also save it and come back and work on it later. If I want to read about the material that's being covered in this assignment, I can go to the ebook, okay, and read this section. Here is always a link to the data, and we're going to click on that in just a minute. That data set will open up in Microsoft Excel, and then you're going to manipulate it, get your answers, and come back to this sheet and answer these questions at the bottom. That's why I didn't want to open the data set yet, because let's look at these questions. What are they looking for? They're looking for the average price of the phones. Well, this average price is the mean, okay? And they also want it to 2 decimal places. Make sure you pay attention and read carefully. They also want the average talk time, or the mean. And also they want that to 3 decimal places, right? I'm going to go do this on the spreadsheet, come back and enter the numbers in these boxes, and then I'm going to click on check my work until I master this exercise, okay? So let's go out and do a little bit on the spreadsheet. It opens up in Excel. I'm going to change this data just a little bit because I do not want to just do the exercise and give you the right numbers, right? So I'll change this data set just a tad, and then I'll demonstrate the technique that you use in order to find these answers, okay? I'm going to click on Enable Editing on the spreadsheet, and I'm going to share that spreadsheet. I'm going to stop sharing on that, and I'm going to start sharing on the spreadsheet to make sure that you're looking at the spreadsheet. Okay, let's go ahead and blow this up. Well, the first thing I want to do on this Excel spreadsheet is put it in the right format before I save it. So I'm going to insert a few rows here by painting the row columns, right click, hit insert. Now I got some rows to work with at the top. I'm going to put it in the right format that I ask for these assignments. I put my last name. I'm going to put chapter 1 assignment. Okay. And then under here, I'm going to put problem 1. Okay, because this is the first tab. Down here at the bottom of the spreadsheet, I noticed that it didn't open up all the way, right? But let's say I want to rename this tab. If I scoot these over, I can rename this tab that says data. I want them named after the problem. So problem 1 tab would be called P1. And this one here, if there was a second question that required Excel, I would rename this tab P2, right? And if I needed to, let me get this right. Okay, if I needed to, I could add more sheets. It opens up with a default of 3 sheets, and sometimes you might need as many as 9. All right, so I'm going to go back to P1 where our data is, and now I'm going to change this data a little bit. 75, I'll do some things to this sheet just to mix this up a little bit and keep us from, all right, so the price actually was what I needed to change. Let's see, 51. Okay, I changed the talk hours, and I'll leave this one alone. Okay, so I'm going to blow my screen up a little bit by holding down the control and rolling my mouse up so I can get you to this. And what I really need here is the mean or average. All right, that's what it's really asking me for. It's also asking me for mean or average over here on talk time. And here under voice quality, it's saying how many of these are excellent, right? So let's do the means first. The formula for doing this in Excel would be equal average, open parentheses, paint my cells that I want to average, close parentheses. So there's the formula right there. Take a good look at it. You could also just enter equal average. Okay, I could enter the formula equal average, and it's going to come up in this little pop-up window, and I can actually click on that, and I can go here to where it's highlighted, and it'll open up a help screen telling me how to use that function. Well, we're using a lot of different functions, right? So this one is one of the easier ones. You may already know this one. But some of these, if you want to learn how to use them properly, you might have to open the help screen. Therefore, I showed you that function, okay? So now that we've created the average here, we could enter the exact same formula over here, or we could just take this and copy it over and paste it under talk time. So now I have my average talk time, and I have my average price. Now let's talk about voice quality. There's a function in Excel called count if. And count if is really important because it'll let me look in a string of data like this. It's hundreds of items long and hundreds of elements long. And I can actually put a formula in that it will count only those that say excellent. So I'm going to put that in this formula right here, equal count if, open parentheses. And here is the array of sales that I want you to look in. And I want you to count it if, in parentheses, I got to put the word excellent and quotation marks. Okay, and I close. So take a look at that formula. I put the array in, then a comma, then quotation marks with excellent inside of it, because that's what I'm looking for. And I can see that there are 2 excellents in there. Okay, well, there's also very good. So now I can equal count if. And I'm going to do the same thing. I got the same array, right? But now I'm looking for very good. Close that. And let's see how many of those there are. Well, there's 6. So since those are the only 2 things in there, I know the total is 8. So I want the percentage that say excellent. So that's going to be equal to 2 divided by 8. Okay. And that's going to give me this little number, which I now have to go up to the top of my screen after I move some things around. And I'm going to open up my percent formatting at the top of Excel. and then I'll scoot this over if I need some decimal places. So I've calculated all the information that I need. I got it in the right format. Now I would want to save this in the right format, okay, as is given in the template on Blackboard. And I will have done question number 1 on this. So I'm going to stop the sharing now, and I'll go back to my other screen share. Okay, so after that problem, I would have come down here and put my stuff in and click share my work or check my work. And when I click check my work, it'll tell me whether I'm right or wrong. It'll put green check marks next to this if I'm right. If I'm not, go figure out what is wrong until you get it all correct. Okay. Then I would go on to question 2. And question 2 is going to be different. This one does not require me to use Excel, but let's take a look at this real quick because you have to do careful reading in statistics, right? And it says the Pew Research study showed that the percentage of employed individuals ages 25 to 29 who are college educated is at an all-time high. The study showed that percentage of employed individuals ages 25 to 29 with a bachelor's, with at least a bachelor's degree. In 2016 was 40%. In the year 2000, that average was 32. In 1985, it was 25. And in 1964, it was 16. So it has been going up. So let's think about these questions. What is the population being studied in each of the 4 years? And it gives you some options here, right? And I want you to learn to read very particular. I'm looking for things that are similar to what is in this paragraph above. Is it looking for employed individuals? Well, not really. If you're employed, you may or may not have a degree. It's looking for unemployed individuals, okay? What is it looking for here? People who are employed, unemployed, or employed and unemployed, right? Well, up here it says employed, right? So it looks like it's surveying employed individuals. What question was posed to each respondent, right? And where are you employed? I don't see that in there. At what age did you get your bachelor's degree, or have you earned a bachelor's degree, right? So I don't want to give you these answers, but you will find out, you will check your work. So when you're all done with this, if you want to, you can click on save, all right? If you want to leave without saving, just click on this closer up here in the corner, and it'll take you back to wherever you were in the textbook. So this is a basic introduction to these. I'm going to go to chapter 2 for a moment. Because in chapter 2, things get really, really busy in chapter 2 and 3 in Excel. And I'll do some more videos on some of this, but you can see that there is a lot more exercises in these. You can see a lot of exercises in here. In fact, under Excel, getting ready, I think there's only 2 headings. Oh no, there's a bunch of activities in here. So this is a review of some basic functions in Excel. It's worth 10 points. You should get 100 on this, right? You can see it should take you about 15 minutes. Activity 2, fixed and relative references. It's a tutorial, but it's worth 10 points. And you got a bunch of these in here that you got to do. They don't take a lot of time, especially if you have experience in Excel. You're going to go through this really fast. If you don't, then the purpose of doing this now is that you learn the tool set that you need to do the spreadsheets. You can always come back and review these because they're unlimited attempts. They don't go away, okay? Some of the things about summarizing quantitative data. Here's that count if function that I used in the other one. You could have done that counting by hand, but really I used this count if function. There's a whole bunch of examples that they show you over and over and over in Excel. Take advantage of all this interactivity. What you got to be able to do is save your work and turn it in on Blackboard. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. This really concludes the little introduction to the textbook. This material is the best material we have to use to teach quantitative courses like statistics and quantitative analysis or quantitative methods. It concentrates on learning and then doing or practice. You practicing and getting the right answer and having a model that you can save for your own reference that is a demonstration of how to do this correctly. That is the key. The exams are multiple choice questions. There's 30 questions on each one of these exams, and they are questioning you on concepts, which where reading the textbook helps, where flashcards help. Reading the textbook will help you with the Excel exercises as well, so you can understand how to answer the questions that are given to you in the chapter assignments. That concludes this video. This will be posted, of course, where all the other ones are, and you will find all the videos in the future, by the way, under videos on the Blackboard site.